My name is Jamila McMallow, and I'm a mindset coach and relationship expert for high-performing women, corporate executives, and established business owners. And I am here today with my amazing client, Lauren Walker. She is a director of finance for a medium-sized tech company. So she's not only working in a male-dominated department, but a male-dominated department in a male-dominated industry. So she is truly a powerhouse. And it has been just an absolute privilege and pleasure to work with her. And so let's get into it. We're just going to have a little conversation here and talk a little bit about her experience working with me. So Lauren, would you please tell us what kind of made you decide to work with me? What were some of the challenges that you were experiencing?
That's a great question. So for me, I have had gone to therapy before, and I tried to work on some of my childhood trauma. And in the past year, I did go through a divorce. So that kind of was the tipping point for me to figure out something else, because therapy just it worked to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so what were some of the challenges that you were dealing with because of that stuff?
So just a lot of my perception of myself, I would say. Bought my, trauma stored in your body. And so I would have these knee-jerk reactions. I did no contact after my divorce, just because I know the type of person that I personally am. And I needed to be able to move on with my life in a certain way, and have those boundaries that I've never had before. So it was a big leap. And so, if a situation would come up for me, it wouldn't just trigger my mind and my thoughts, but my body would react. So if I felt like I saw him out somewhere or something, it was like a full-on type of panic attack. So I was like, okay, there's got to be something that I can do to change my perception of the situation or my reaction.
Yeah. And I know when we started working together, you were very emotional, right? Because it was a very painful situation. I myself, of course, I'm happily married, but I did have a first marriage and I've been through divorce, so I get it. It's terrible. And I was married for 14 years and that relationship wasn't the best. It was toxic. And so that, adds insult to injury, right? And so I know that your relationship was about a decade long as well. So it's a long time. It's a lot to get over. And so it just kind of seemed to be circling there at the surface, never really being able to process it or move on. And so really, in a way, you were kind of just stuck there, right?
Yeah.
And you said it wasn't just that, it was also some things from childhood. So as we started working together, what would you say was maybe the most challenging part of the process for you?
So I would say I have a tendency to take on too much. I've always been that way. And so, I have work, I have other, I try to take care of myself mentally and physically, which this is part of the mental part, right? And then I, do activities on the side besides those things as well. And I also try to be there for everyone else. So when I had made the decision, I actually had watched a lot of your videos and watched a lot of the testimonials there. And I was like, okay, Lauren, you know that you take on too much. So if you're going to do this, you need to make time for that. But then things would come up during the process, I would say. And I stick to a schedule. I'm the type of person, I work out from this time to this time, and I meal prep on the weekends and stuff like that. And I schedule out my day. And so I would schedule this out, but something else would come and so kind of like procrastination in a sense, but it's more so I just take on more than I can chew a lot of the time.
And, and I'll pause you there. Really what that was, and I know, I give my clients unlimited access to me through an app I use called Viber. And those were those moments of resistance. Remember, because I tell all my clients up front, I'm like, just wait until it's time for you to do an exercise. You're going to find all kinds of projects to do around your house. Stuff's going to start happening. And you're going to be like, oh my goodness, there's what's going on. I'm like, your brain is a powerful thing. It will create all kinds of distractions and stuff to get in your way of you actually facing what it is that you need to face in order to move through this and get the healing, to get the breakthrough, the transformation, the result. And so just like all of my clients, you are so courageous because you faced it, right? Yes, I have to put my hand to your back a little bit and say, do it. But when you do, you're like, okay, it's over. It wasn't so bad, because really the whole process is like, this is the last time that you have to think about these feelings. This is the last time that you have to think about these memories. This is the last time that you have to think about these people that have harmed you in this way. And once it's done, So I just want to acknowledge, and really honor the courage that you've shown through this process and being willing, right, to allow me to guide you and to help you get past your resistance, because you didn't resist the pushing, past your the loving, gentle pushing. So, and here you are on the other side. So what I would love to hear and for you to share with those who are watching is, what have been some of the biggest results, shifts, breakthroughs that you've seen throughout this process?
So for me personally, you hear things. I think it's important, right? That's why people go to therapy, is to have an objective opinion. If you really do care about changing and bettering yourself, you do have to look inward, right? So that's step one. And I think we talked about this, like there was steps that led up to me meeting you, as well as me even getting to a place where I could have done this. And for me personally, if I had not been able to go through therapy and talk through some of the issues that I did have, as well as with close friends, I personally need a lot of reassurance. So for me, it was good having someone that had no previous knowledge of anything. So you really could be a true third party voice of, what is the word?
Voice of reason.
Yeah, I think it's voice of reason. Yes, but I don't know if that's the word I was looking for, so I apologize.
That's okay.
But for me, when I would talk to other friends, I'd be like, okay, well, you don't know what I did in the situation, because I'm the type of person that I don't want to poke blame on everyone else. There's things that I need to change, but what I will say is, you were kind of the last final like puzzle piece, I would say, to affirming everything that everyone else was telling me, but I didn't believe them. And I think a lot of the times, like seeing the pattern of from the beginning of like my first experience to what I ended up repeating in a relationship, right? You were able to help me connect the dots, because there was a lot of puzzle pieces missing, I would say.
Yeah. Yep. And just to be clear for those that are watching, I am not a therapist. I'm a coach, and you can tell folks what you feel like are the differences, but I feel I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to know and what you need to hear. I'm not just here to listen, and just for you to vent and unload. I'm here to guide you through a very specific strategic process to unravel the stuff that's holding you back so you can get to where you want to be, And it's interesting because you brought up a good point about how when we started working together, really your tendency was to blame yourself. And so you weren't allowing, you really were not forgiving of yourself, able to acknowledge that, hey, no, other people are responsible too. No one's saying that you're perfect, but you have to acknowledge that you were victimized. You were not a victim, because there's a difference, but you were victimized, and it's okay to say that. That doesn't make you weak. It doesn't diminish all that you've accomplished. It's not a besmirch upon who you are, especially the things that happened when you were a little girl, which then set you up for the relationship that you had as an adult. So really just kind of helping you to understand and come to accept and believe that it wasn't your fault.
Yeah.
And that it was okay for you to now forgive yourself. Yes, you made those choices, but they were from an unhealed place. Yeah. And that's a big thing women do, is we'll beat ourselves up about decisions we made from an unhealed place. And we'll stay there just ruminating. Why did I do that? Why was I so stupid? This is like, no, forgive yourself for what you did when you didn't know any better. And then heal and move forward, and make better decisions going forward. So I think that was huge for you. Just you not blaming yourself anymore and letting folks carry their blame where they were deserving of it, right? So just a part of this process is, yes, that we go into childhood. Yes, that we go into past relationships. And it is not to look for excuses. It is not to blame people for why we are the way we are. And this is, and then there's a period at the end of the sentence. No, it's to allow ourselves to acknowledge the truth of our experience, how we experienced those individuals, how we experienced our fathers, how we experienced our mothers, how we experienced our exes, and how it affected us. And acknowledging our feelings and our pain and allowing ourselves to release them so that we can heal and be free of that and move on. Get unstuck, So what else would you say as far as like the results that you've seen since, and how you're thinking and feeling, and even like about your ex, from your divorce?
Yeah. So besides like by the way, I'm a very analytical person. I'm very logical. So I think about things over and over again. I'm an overthinker. And I try to look at different perspectives to understand other people's point of views. But you also, another positive was like, okay, but how do you feel about it? How do you feel about it? How do you feel about it? So like getting more in touch with my feelings, because I did turn them off pretty much for that whole relationship. So getting in touch with my feelings, and then with me getting in touch with my feelings, being able to feel those feelings, get over it, and then a couple of days later after the exercise was complete, just feeling like the happiest and freest I've ever felt. And that is, I work out, so I love those endorphins. I try to eat healthy, those kinds of things. But it's a different experience, I would say. It's something I don't think I've ever, at least I don't remember ever feeling, even in childhood. But just very light and free. Like, that's the perfect word to say, is free.
Yay, that just warms my heart just to hear you say that. I'm like, oh, she's free. That is the word. You're free. All that emotional stuff that was just hanging out, in you, the pain, the trauma, the mistreatment, all those things, it's gone. So you're like, okay, well, who's this Lauren, right?
Yeah. What's next now? Like, it's like a reset button.
Yes, exactly. That's the exciting part. It literally is like you get to reset, hit the reset button, and become the Lauren that you could have been, that you should have been, that you are, right? But now the next version, without all the baggage.
Yeah.
Without all the stuff that was not serving you. Because everything that we experienced in childhood did not cause a negative effect, right? Right. My goodness, you're not even 30 and you're in this director role. And that is huge. That's a big deal. And so you're very driven and focused, and you're a high achiever, a high performer, all those things. It's funny because all of my clients, these are all the traits that all of my clients possess, which of course I embody as well. We like-minded, what is it, the word I'm looking for, like attracts like, or birds of a feather flock together. But anyway, I'm saying that the good things that came out of that experience are what have gotten you to where you are right now. You have the successful career. You're a very loving friend. You're good to people. You're very good to other people, and you're generous and you're kind. And so this stuff that we got rid of was stuff that was not helping you. It was not serving you at all. It's like, no, we can let that go. And so sometimes people are like, well, if I start unraveling this and dig into this, is this going to like make me lose my edge, or any of that? And do you feel like your productivity has increased or decreased?
I think I would say it's increased because I don't feel the overwhelming anxieties. It's not like I was living in constant anxiety, but certain situations or certain triggers um, definitely would occur. Um, and I mean, I didn't miss a beat through the whole thing. And like, besides, the little annoyances in life that's going to happen in any situation, right? Like at work, when I was going through this process, that was part of like the resistance. And after the process, like, I feel like I barely work anymore in the sense of like a dog. Like
Right.
I, you know, I finally have help. I finally am able to, there was a situation at work the other day when someone kind of, um, the way that they spoke to me wasn't appropriate and
Mm-hmm.
professional. And I was able to like pull them aside and say, hey, like, I know you're stressed and going through something, but let's kind of treat each other with respect and just I'm sorry, not opinionate, express my boundaries with that. And,
Mm-hmm.
they apologized and, we're great. So
That's huge too.
yeah,
That's
being able
amazing.
to speak
Yeah.
up as well.
Yes. So boundaries. See, when we start to embody or own or understand our own value and worth,
Hmm.
to see ourselves for who we really are, not the version that we thought we were because of what somebody said or did to us. That's when we realize, hold up, I have boundaries, I have limits, there are barriers, I have standards of that people have to meet in order to communicate with me, in order to be in my space, in order to be my friend, my coworker, whatever. And the way that you handled it was great. You didn't get all upset or go off or anything. You just handled it like a professional, like a boss. Because that's what you are, really. She is. You truly, truly are. And you made a good point, and I want to highlight this. Her job is so busy. Like, Lauren is not like, you go to work and I have time to, like, chill on Facebook for a couple. She hits the ground running. Probably before you leave the house, you're on your laptop just checking your emails or whatever.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
she works all the way up until it's like, boom, time to go home. And because her department is very busy, her company is very busy. And so I say all that to say that even with that hectic of a schedule, she was able to go through this process. It was not overwhelming for her. It didn't, like I said, I didn't miss a beat. It didn't hinder her in any way. Sometimes the fear is that this is gonna, hinder me in some way, or I'm not going to be able to function. False. You have to live your life regardless.
Mhm.
So the way that I've created this process is, you just keep on living, and we're going to work within your life, and you're going to still get the results. You're going to get the healing. You're going to get the transformation. You just got to follow the process, listen to my guidance, and you're going to get there. So it doesn't matter how busy you feel like you are. You have to make time for yourself. And that is really the issue, right? Is we'll put ourselves last. And this
Yep.
really is all about you. And so I'd love, Lauren, for you to just talk to the woman who is on the fence. Talk to the woman who feels like, oh, I'm afraid to invest that into myself, or, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know. Is this going to work for me? What would you say to the woman on the fence about working with me?
Um, I would say that you have to make a commitment to yourself. You have to believe that you want to change to do it. Nothing in this life is worth having if you're not going to put effort and time into it.
Mm-hmm.
So you put effort and time into those crappy relationships. So you definitely deserve to put effort and time into yourself, and just make a commitment to yourself, just like you have. If you're drawn to Jamila, right? You're successful in business, or in your corporate job. So you got that way, and you treat it as if it's your job. It is your job to take care of yourself. You show up on time, you do the assignment, and you reap the reward after. So if that will help you put it into perspective in your brain, you're showing up to work for yourself, to better yourself. So that's what I would say.
I love that. I love how you frame that up, that it's like, this is a part of what you need to do for yourself. Great, great,
Mhm.
great. So is there anything else that you would love for those who are watching to know about me, this process, your experience, your results, before we wrap things up?
Just that, you know, when you're watching this could be you, and you could have the feeling of freedom. You just have to push yourself to get there. You just have to feel like you deserve it, which we all do. We all, even the people that hurt us, right? They deserve this feeling as well, just as being a human.
Mhm.
So definitely invest in yourself. Jamila's amazing. We're very similar in personalities in the sense that, like, you know, you were victimized, you're not a victim. Show up for yourself, hold yourself accountable, but with compassion in there, which
Mhm.
is something that, if you're, you know, looking to help yourself, is something that you might be lacking, which definitely I did. So it's a beautiful balance of compassion mixed with accountability, uh, and it's very beneficial, and I think you should do it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Lauren. It is a joy and a privilege to work with you. We're still working together. And yeah, so I want to thank you for watching. And if you would like more information about working with me, absolutely go to my website, coachjamila.com, read through my other client testimonials, watch my other client testimonial videos, and book a call. And let's have a conversation one-on-one about what working with me would look like. All right. Thank you.